Next on BNI Mid-America TV, it's the Gold Club Member Spotlight Show. Gold Club members have sponsored 6 or more people into BNI, and they are here to share their secrets with you. If you want to improve your inviting techniques, then this is the show for you. And now, our host, Jennie Bellinger.
Welcome to the BNI Mid-America TV channel. This is the Gold Club Member Spotlight Show, and I am your host, Jennie Bellinger. I am with Level Up Coaching LLC in my non-BNI time, but I am here to interview today Mark Bearth. Mark Bearth is with ID Seal, and he has been a BNI member for 21 years, people. Oh my gosh, 21 years. And he has been a Gold Club member for approximately 8 years, and has sponsored about 8 members in that time, in his time here in BNI. So welcome to the show, Mark.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So tell us first a little bit about your business so people go, what is ID Seal?
About my business.
Yeah.
ID Seal is probably the premier and most robust identity theft protection, monitoring, alerting, and restoration program out that you can find.
Nice. Very good. And so BNI has been good at helping you protect people's identities then, I guess.
Absolutely. The referrals are just fantastic. I wouldn't be in BNI for 21 years if they hadn't been. So.
Absolutely. So tell us, you've sponsored 8 people, which means you've probably invited, probably 200, 300 people in 21 years, if not more, maybe even closer to, maybe 400 in that time. So in doing that, how have you been prospecting people to be a visitor for your chapter?
That's pretty interesting. I never did the math to that degree. 21, I guess it could be. The methodology is straight out of the book, to be perfectly honest with you. I just keep my eyes and ears open for people that say they're in business or are complaining about their business not being as profitable as they would like, or the amount of effort to get good prospects is more effort than they want. It's pretty much the same process that you would use to catch a referral for one of your members. It's amazing how parallel those two programs are. But and then again, to be honest with you, you got to be willing to ask the question. That's 90% of it is just being willing to ask questions, because nobody's going to say no to the question. Hey, you want to meet some people that are maybe willing to do business with you.
Very true. Oh my gosh. And yeah, if somebody says no, I think in all the time I've invited people, I've had one person who said, I literally cannot take any more business. No, I don't have time to meet any new people right now. So everyone else has said, of course I would like to meet new people. So I love that. And how do you go about doing that inviting process? Because you open the door there for this question to say, you've got to be willing to invite. So first step for you is obviously the willingness to help others and be listening for that. But then how do you go through the invitation process with somebody?
Well, generally, and the rules have all changed now because we're not bumping into people in the grocery line anymore. But our chapter is pretty proactive when it comes to having visitor type events. And so for me, I would say a good portion of the people that I've successfully invited, I was inviting them to an event, which every meeting is an event. So really the definition doesn't change, but the emphasis and the group effort, of having a group of in your chapter, all working toward having a group of visitors there. I in all honesty, that's where most of my success as Gold Club recruiting has come from, is through the chapter having events. But the process is exactly the same if you were just inviting. One thing I did learn, I forget who first brought this up, it's not an idea of my own, but a lot of times if I had people trying to pique me for anything, I would say, hey, look, I've got 20 minutes after my regular BNI meeting on Thursdays. If you want to come to my BNI meeting, and then 20 minutes after that, I'll give you all the time you want to pitch your idea to me. I've used that every once in a while, and it surprisingly works. It feels funny, so I haven't done it a lot, but I will admit every time I've done it, I've gotten the visitor. You know what I mean? So there you are.
Yeah, absolutely. When someone's trying to pitch you something, number one, that's a great sign that they're looking for more business, right? They're
Yeah.
trying to get you to be their client. But if you're in need of a visitor and they're looking for connections to potential customers or clients, that's a great invitation to be able to say, hey, if you show up to this meeting, I'll give you 20 minutes and I'll listen to your entire pitch. Absolutely. I think that's a brilliant idea.
It's not original, but it is good.
Hey, absolutely.
I wish I could remember who originally did that. It was somebody in our chapter, but I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, no, it's an idea I've heard floating around. It's something that I've used for myself. You know, those people who knock on your door and want to pitch you for, some sort of home service, or if you still have a brick and mortar building, for somebody who's watching this right now, a BNI member watching this right now who has a brick and mortar, and somebody's coming in to try and pitch you for your business. This is a great opportunity to really turn it around and say, you know what, you can try and get my service, which is just one customer, or I can go and introduce you to 15, 20, 25, 30 other people, depending on the size of your chapter and how many visitors you have regularly. How would you like to go get in front of that many people at one time? Most people who are doing those cold calls, door to door, or actual phone calls, which who answers their phone anymore? I mean, I literally got a call right now in the middle of the interview and I'm like, silence, so that's a great method because how many of us hate those pitches? And now if you just shift the mindset to be like, ooh, this is a potential visitor.
There you go. Exactly.
Potential visitor. You don't have to hate those calls anymore. You can go ahead and turn them into a visitor. And
Right.
and through the process, you've invited a lot of people, you've gotten them to show up. And nowadays, I don't know, Mark, do you think it's easier for people to show up on Zoom now than showing up to an in-person meeting?
The answer to that question, and I'm not avoiding the question or trying to be funny, it's both yes or no. People either do not mind Zoom, and I happen to be one of those. Even though when they first started, I was the guy who said, hey, if you're going to network, you got to network in person. You got to press the flesh. You got to read body language. You got to do all those things. I'm a total convert, but there's more total converts out there than you would think, and it just seems to me to be easier to invite people to a Zoom meeting, both for BNI purposes and my regular sales presentations for my business. I've been much more successful in a conversion rate, let's put it that way, both converting people to get them to listen to what I have to say and then getting them to buy after I've said it. I've been much more successful on the Zoom platform than I have been in person. And from a face-to-face, and I'm counting this as a face-to-face.
Sure.
I've probably doubled my productivity. I probably could triple or even quadruple my activity because all I have to do is wear clothes from the top up. and I don't have to drive anywhere.
Yeah.
So from a activity standpoint, I get a lot more done via Zoom than in person.
I would agree.
I miss lunch in person though.
I know. Miss it. I know the food was good at my meeting too. So I'm a breakfast meeting. So we had a great breakfast buffet. But I definitely agree with you. I think there are a lot more Zoom converts out there, especially now that we've been doing this for 9 months, almost 10 months since all of this began at the time of this recording. I know that I ran a poll on my LinkedIn platform asking that specific question. When given the choice, would you prefer a Zoom face-to-face or a phone call? And 100% of the people who responded said they prefer Zoom over a phone call right now. So, and I asked the question using the premise of, I keep hearing from people that other people are quote unquote zoomed out. And I disagree based on the results of that poll, because when given a choice, people will pick Zoom over phone. They want the face to face. So I think that the zoomed out Zoom fatigue thing might be a little overblown
Can I,
in some
can I
people's
comment
minds
on
than
that?
it really is.
Can I comment on that real quick?
Sure.
Uh, while most people, and I'm not going to challenge your poll, I agree with the poll, would prefer Zoom over a phone call, that still does not draw the conclusion that they would rather Zoom call versus just not do anything. Because
Right.
you're not giving them two choices, the Zoom
Right.
call or the phone call. I think that there are people who, a good portion of people who may be thinking to themselves, when is this going to end? I want to get back into a regular lifestyle. But I think the casualty isn't Zoom. The casualty is just the situation. People are
Right.
tired of the situation. And Zooming for a meeting is a strong representation of the dilemma.
Mm,
So just a little
truth.
sociology there for you.
Truth. And so during all these invitations and you're getting people there, have you been working to actively influence your visitors to become potential members? And if so, how are you doing that? Are you planting seeds? Are you having direct conversations with them? How do you go about making that influence known?
Well, you know me well enough to know that I'm not going to leave the sleeping dog lie. Uh, I spent a number of years as our visitor host for our chapter. And when I was in that role, I got in the habit of contacting at the beginning of the month every visitor that we had
Mm,
the previous month. And with the permission of our new visitor host, I continue to do that. So I'm not only reaching out every month shortly after well, you know what I mean, first
yeah.
week of the month, to not only my visitors that I've invited, but all of the visitors, letting them, reminding them, hey, I'm Mark Bearth. I'm the guy that they say has been around for 20 years. If you have any other questions that you want answered just from a regular everyday Joe Schmo member, I'm the guy you can reach out to.
Very good. That's awesome to know. I mean, how many of us have realized that we have this gold mine of people to talk to that we're just letting sit there? I mean, Mark, I think you're the one person who probably knows the book better than almost anybody else in our region. People are literally leaving money on the table, right?
Well, here's the deal. In the terms of one-to-ones, for every one of those visitors, whether they're mine or not, and I do not apologize for this, for every one of those visitors that I have in a one-to-one with, talk about BNI, it's only successful because I let them talk about their business too. We talk about BNI, and then I remind them what I do. And and I don't apologize for the success that formula brings.
Yeah.
It's really a shame other people don't embrace it.
Absolutely. Well, I think just a lot of people don't think about that gold mine of potential contacts that are just sitting there, because maybe they didn't get to connect with them during the meeting, and so they forget they exist. So knowing how to go back into BNI Connect, look at that visitor log to get everyone's contact information, it's all just sitting there waiting to be mined. It's a gold mine just sitting there. Lots of little diamonds in the rough just sitting there, whether it's potential member, whether it's a potential collaboration that you might have with someone, or even potential customers. So I think that's a big point to bring up. So thanks for bringing it up, Mark. And finally, the last question I want to ask you is, what would you say is your favorite benefit from being in the Gold Club?
Favorite benefit from being in the Gold Club? There are so many. Probably this will be a little bit weird for you, but let me put it this way. Being a Gold Club member gives me a little bit of additional credibility, I think, when I'm talking BNI.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm talking to a potential new member, which is what the Gold Club is about, and I'm a member of the Gold Club member, what's that? You explain to them what it is, and which, by the way, is sponsoring 6 or more members. I don't know who's watching this that may not know that. oh, okay, well, this is a guy who's been there, done that, and at least presents himself as knowing what he's talking about.
Yeah, it does bring a level of credibility to somebody, especially in BNI. If people know what it is that a Gold Club member has achieved in order to get there, then they're like, oh, okay, yeah. So now you've become more visible. You've become more credible. I think that's awesome. I love that perspective, Mark. So appreciate you bringing that up. So everybody, if you have questions about BNI or being a Gold Club member, reach out to Mark. He's got it. He understands it. And if you want to know more about, of course, identity protection, Mark is the person you want to talk to as well. So thank you for taking time out of your busy day, Mark, to be here and be on the interview and share your knowledge and experience with our BNI members.
It's always a pleasure talking to you, Jenny.
Oh, thank you so much. And you guys know, stay tuned because there's another episode on its way.
For more information on how BNI can help you build your business, book your complimentary consultation with Virginia Moosekeith at discoverbnimitamerica.com. BNI Mid-America TV is brought to you by the Bergman Insurance Group, your trusted source for Medicare information, education, and enrollment. Be sure to check out the show notes for additional information on how to contact today's host or guest about their business, and thanks for watching.